Would you study medicine abroad as an international medical student? Let's talk about it. I just got out the shower, so I'm going to do my routine while we chat. This is probably going to be a long video, by the way. Save it for later when you have more time to watch it, or make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and let's chat about being an international student and if it's worth it. I'm not going to say like pros or cons. I'm just going to tell you like my experience, what I think about the whole situation, and then you can decide for yourself, is it something you want to do? Because I have a lot of people asking me, is studying abroad worth it? I'm obviously a international medical student. I did a BSc in Medical Sciences in South Africa at the University of Pretoria. I've loved my experience in that country, or in my country. The education wouldn't change it for the world. And then I was asked to come abroad to study medicine. So originally I went to Ukraine, and I was studying there, and then obviously due to the war I had to evacuate, and now I'm studying in Georgia to finish off my degree. Let me talk to you about my experience as an international medical student. So if you are going to be studying in a country where English is not the first language, you need to prepare yourself for the language barrier. So coming from South Africa, where we have 11 official languages, and I speak 2 of those 11 official languages, and kind of know a few words in Zulu, adjusting to a new language wasn't difficult for me. I love learning languages, and I'm very passionate about learning the language that the locals speak, because you're coming into their country, you're coming into their space. You should make an effort to communicate with them in their language. And I find that a lot of international students, and just foreigners in general, think because they speak English, they're better than the locals, which I don't understand, because it's like, do you speak their language? No. Most locals speak multiple languages, and you speak one. So check yourselves, humble yourself. But I do think that you need to be willing to put the time and effort into learning another language. So yes, the tuition is all in English, and patient interaction is in English with the help of the doctors, translating for patients who can't speak English. Everything is in English, but general day-to-day life is not in English. Going to the store, a lot of the people don't speak English, so I do definitely think you should prepare yourself to learn a new language. And put some time and effort into it. The second thing is foreign tax. So when it comes to renting apartments, and so some things like, maybe if you're buying from a shop on the side of the street that doesn't have standardized pricing and all that stuff, you might pay foreigners tax. Normally I do a whole a style medicals, but I really want to do the sock. I really want to do the heatless curls thing. So I'm just going to put it up. Tall and then drive. So the next thing I would say about studying abroad is you need to understand that the way that they teach in primarily Eastern Europe, because I obviously studied in Ukraine or Georgia, is not the same way that you might be accustomed to in the UK or America or wherever you come from. Every teaching style is different. The way that the country learns is different. So you need to be prepared for that. There's a lot of self-directed learning in being an international medical student that I found, which I don't have a problem with. I've always been better at learning by myself. To be honest, when I was in my undergrad, I would skip classes and self-study the stuff because I don't like waking up early. So I'm used to self-directed learning. Another thing that people don't prepare you for as being an international medical student is the fact that you're going to miss your family and your home. Especially if you are a student who's from a country that's quite hard to get to. So a lot of my friends are from the UK or Europe, and for them to go home, it's super easy, it's like a 2-3 hour flight. But for those of us who come from a little bit further, maybe America, maybe Africa, South Africa, journeys home are really long and they're really expensive. You can't just pop home for a long weekend. The time that you'll probably be able to go home is in the summer when you have 2 to 3 months off, if you're lucky. So that was really hard for me, someone who's a very family-orientated person. It was very, very difficult for me to adjust to that because I love my family and I love my country, I love my culture. So it was very, very hard for me not to have South Africa and my family around me. Another thing about being a international medical student that people don't prepare you for is when you're studying in your home country, the pathway to being a doctor once you graduate is pretty set in stone. Everyone knows, okay, cool, you just need to study, pass your medical school exams, and then you apply for a position or internship position in your home country. You know, obviously you ranked, you placed, maybe not where you want to be, but whatever. Being an international medical student is a lot more difficult. You have to apply to your medical boards. There's a whole bunch of tests and exams you need to sit. There's a whole bunch of like extra steps that you need to go through that could add an extra year or two onto your journey to becoming a doctor. So just because you've graduated with your medical degree doesn't mean that immediately you're going to start working as a doctor, which I don't think a lot of international students knew. Like, I knew that I had to apply for things, but I didn't know that, like, the timeline could be as much extended. Obviously, there's things that you can do, like if you want to go to America and, you know, start your USMLE journey early and all of those things. But certain countries, you can really only get the process started in your final year of medicine or once you've graduated. And also bear in mind that as an international medical graduate in your home country, even though you're from that country, sometimes you might not be respected as much as your peers who studied in that country, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. Like, we're all studying medicine and we're all studying the same thing. That's a discussion for another day. But it is something that you need to be aware of. And then the next thing is fees. Like, I thought it would be cheaper to study abroad because medical school in my country is very expensive, but it actually ended up working out the same, if not more. Sunscreen. Please remember to wear sunscreen. Even though it's like 1 degree outside, sunscreen. So there are a lot of extra hidden costs involved. So visa applications, flight tickets, home to your family in the holidays, foreign tax, setting up your apartment. That gets expensive. So in my personal opinion, obviously there's a lot more about being an international medical student. I just can't talk forever. But if you guys have questions, leave them for me and then I'll do individual videos about those specific questions. But my personal opinion would, if I could go back and do it, will I be an international medical student or will I just apply back in my home country? That's a good question. Why don't you let me know? Do you think it's worth it?